Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this video is about Otakon and bike theft. And so basically, I'm very blessed. Last year in 2014, I went to Otakon, which is the largest anime convention in the United States of America, in Baltimore, Maryland. And I live in Philadelphia, so me and my son Xavier, we drove down to Baltimore. Now, at the beginning of last year, actually early in 2014, I really got into bicycling. Absolutely fell in love with it. Really enjoyed bicycling. And the reason why this happened is I'd done bicycling for a while, and I owned a Marin Palisades, which is it's a mountain bike. It's a mountain bike. So, and it was just a regular sized mountain bike. Well, our neighbors moved, and we were very blessed to have a really nice relationship with our neighbors. My wife would make soup for them and bring it over sometimes, and we'd get together, just for barbecues and stuff. But they moved suddenly, and their son, who lived with them, he was a larger guy, kind of like me, and he had a 26-inch frame Rally M50. And so when they left, they were like, rather than, our son really doesn't ride this bike, so they gave me this Rally M50 mountain bike, which once I looked it up on the internet, it was a $600 bike that they gave to me. So it was used, but it was virtually, I think it may be ridden once or twice. But because it was an oversized frame, and it was a 2-inch oversized frame, I absolutely fell in love with this bike. And when I got on it, I didn't feel like when I rode a regular bike, I just felt like a circus bear, like tooling around on a little tricycle, But on this bike, I just felt like I could ride over anything, and I really got into it. And I rode everywhere last year. I went to Fairmount Park in Philly and rode, like 12, like up to 15 miles a day on the trails. Started riding in the Philadelphia streets with the cars, learning how to ride in traffic, and just absolutely fell in love with it. Really dug bicycling. Would ride, all over Linville Orchards and in Philadelphia, or in the Philadelphia suburbs. Just really in the, and bicycling is awesome because there's more and more trails all the time. So really loves bicycling. So I took my bicycle down to Otakon, and it was really awesome because rather than wait in the huge line to get in, I just got on my bicycle. So I put my bicycle on my bike rack, drove my car down to Otakon in Baltimore, Maryland, and I circled the Baltimore Convention Center. Circled the Baltimore Convention Center, and it was great. It was really had a great time, and I got to see all the anime fans in their different garb and in their cosplay outfits. And again, I love riding in cities with traffic. It doesn't really feel like anything else I do, and it's really, I just love it. So it was really fantastic. So what happened was, excuse me. So I parked our car 8 blocks away from Otakon, and I was able to park for $8 a day rather than $30 that they charged at the convention. So it saved us like over $50, which was really nice. And it was, and I got to ride my bike there, and it's fantastic, right? So I ride is 8 blocks away, but when you're in another part in another city, I'm not used to Baltimore. Excuse me. And so when I was there, something really unusual happened. So I was on the go. It's late in the day, and I needed to get something to eat real quick. And what happened was I stopped at McDonald's, and I got a burger. And I just ate like half of it, threw the other half away, and and so I'm in the McDonald's for about, and this is about 8 blocks away from the Baltimore Convention Center. So basically, I'm in McDonald's for about 5 minutes, and I walk out, an unusual part of the town, and I walk out, and there is a kid like 15, 16 years old, and he is spinning the lock on my Rally M50. And so I look at him and I'm like, hey, that's not yours. And the kid does not flinch. He keeps spinning the lock, and I was like, oh man, like this is pretty wild. So I kept walking straight toward him, and I put my hands on my bike and it said, this is not yours. Get to moving. And he looked me dead in the eye, and he laughed, and he walked away. Right? And of course, my heart is pumping, and I turned around, and this part upset me a bit. Excuse me. I turned around, and there were 3 grown men my age, you know, like 30, 40, 45 years old, and they all laughed and walked away too. And they had been watching this kid try to steal my bike. And so it just blew me away. The whole thing was a really odd scene. And so one of the things I did was I was really kind of alarmed, and so I called my brother the next day, and I told him this story, and my brother was like, yeah, and I told him the story, and he's like, well, you did the right thing. You didn't back down, and you were ready, ready for action when you had to be. And I was like, oh, and well, actually, I kind of thought the same thing, right? And I was like, yeah, I got my bike, I made sure nothing happened, right? And I kind of felt proud, that I was, I didn't hesitate. I defended what was mine, and I didn't get taken. I still had my bike, right? So what was really kind of shocking was that, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. So what was really kind of shocking was, it took me about 2 or 3 days, and I realized that I really handled it incorrectly. So I am an evangelical Christian. I love the Lord. The Lord has blessed me. I have a beautiful wife I've been married to for 23 years. I have 2 daughters and 2 sons. I mean, I'm literally living the American dream. I have a house. I have, 2 cars, and I want for nothing, really. And I just, I realized right then, what Jesus would have done was he would have given that kid, he would have spun the lock himself. He would have unlocked the bike. He would have told the kid the combination, and he would have said, enjoy riding the bike. And the thing that really made me sad is, at my house, I still had the Marin Palisade, so I had another mountain bike at home, and I highly doubt that that kid had even 1 mountain bike, let alone 2. And so I really, felt and I understood how I had failed, and I had failed that kid, and I had failed myself, and I had failed Jesus. And so, I really have a different perspective on it. I wish I had taken that opportunity to give that kid that bike, and really, maybe changed his life, and also just taking the opportunity to act like Christ. So that's my story about Otakon and bike theft, and it was an adventurous year, and I'm going back to Otakon this year, and so we'll see what happens. Take care.